In the 1950s, a young engineer named Paul J. Aicher took part in an informal discussion course. The neutral facilitator leading the course encouraged everyone to share in the conversation. An experience that gave Paul a sense of empowerment. He went from thinking of himself as just an engineer to someone who had something to say about public issues. He wound up facilitating similar courses himself. As he built a business and raised his family, Paul remained involved in community activism, earning a reputation as someone for whom no job was too small. In the 1990s, Paul found himself eager to advance grassroots dialogue as the best way to address pressing public issues. He visited Sweden, where small dialogue groups called study circles were an ingrained element of public life, worked with the Kettering Foundation, and continued to explore, develop, and improve the process of dialogue. Paul founded the Study Circles Resource Center, which began by developing small group discussion guides on issues of current content, welfare reform, the death penalty, homelessness, and the Iraq War. Paul applied a spirit of continuous striving for improvement. In 1992, SCRC responded immediately when 4 white Los Angeles police officers were acquitted in the beating of Rodney King. After working with people in LA, Paul decided SCRC needed to develop resources to help people talk honestly and constructively about race. They realized that an effective discussion tool would be one that would not force white Americans into feelings of guilt and helplessness, but would also convey to people of color that discussion wouldn't be just talk. By 2002, SCRC had worked with 300 communities, offering coaching and developing guides on many topics. The guides address specific issues and also lay out a process where people meet over several weeks, share stories, build trust, develop a shared understanding of an issue, and move towards action. Most towns find the process helps them move forward with new alliances, greater trust, and wider citizen participation, all of which tend to present solutions that may not have been apparent before the process began. Study circles move throughout the country, addressing racism in Ohio, poverty in the Northwest, education in Albuquerque, criminal justice in Oklahoma, public safety in Illinois, and hundreds of others. Examining structural racism as an integral part of dialogue guides and organizing became a key element of the work and continued to grow in significance and become integrated into the organization after Paul's death. Paul died in 2002, shortly after this book was published. The Study Circles Resource Center changed its name to Everyday Democracy to lift up the goal of expanding the impact of study circles and making democracy real for people throughout the country every day, in the way their governments work, in the way people interact with each other and their communities. How many times have I heard people say, "This is what democracy feels like," said Martha McCoy, who began with SCRC in 1991. We're showing people a need they didn't always know they have.